By the way, Brian, a lot of people don't know. Do you get sick and tired of people asking about being like you were the first like Hannibal Lecter? I mean, that was you before Hopkins. You hate hearing about it, or
no? It's very. I don't know. No, the thing about being the first, it's just one of those things that just goes on and on and on. I mean, I now fess up. I was the first Hannibal Lecter, and I'm very grateful. It's been opened a lot of doors for me, and whenever any film relating to that subject opens, I always get good reviews, which is nice. And I haven't done any of the work, so I'm very grateful to Hannibal Lecter.
Were you annoyed when they gave it to Hopkins for the other one, or you didn't care what anything to do with it?
I didn't even, originally there was a problem over the name. I don't know if you realize, but if you look at Hannibal Lecter in Manhunter and you look at Hannibal Lecter, he's spelt differently. He's actually called, I think he's Lektor, whereas in the other movies he's Lecktor. And there was a problem over the name, and they thought they couldn't use the name. So for a while, he was called Quigley in one of the earlier drafts of Silence of the Lambs. I may have got this wrong because we had the same agent, and I remember my agent saying to me, Tony's going up for this role, which sounds very like the part you played. He's called Quigley, but it's written by Tom Harris in The Silence of the Lambs. And I said, oh, that's good. And then I realized it was the same role. But no, I was doing something else at the time. The irony, actually, this is much quoted, but the irony is that I was playing King Lear at the National Theatre when Tony was playing Hannibal Lecter. And when he was playing King Lear at the National Theatre, I was playing Hannibal Lecter. So it's kind of weird.
He just referred to Hopkins twice as Tony. Like, that's really good.
Don't you want to be there, Jimmy?
Yeah.
Don't you want to be there?
I still call him Anthony.
Somebody was singing your praises and saying, was it the gentleman with the green arms who met me at the door?
Oh, Creepy Steve, we call him?
Yeah, he said that you did a video game together and that you were a wonderful actor. He said, he's a really good actor. I'm not an actor at all. Apparently he was in it as well.
That was very nice of you to relay, but here's what stupid Steve just did, and let me catch that bastard. He just wanted you to know that he did something, and he couldn't be so obnoxious to go, do you know I did a video game? Would you please tell me what you think?
I did voiceover.
So he had to make it look like he was giving me a compliment.
Well, he was giving you a compliment.
It certainly is with your creepy green arms. Brian doesn't like it, and neither do we.
I didn't say that.
Well, you didn't have to. The first thing he said this morning when I gave him the game was, I've got to go to IMDb and make sure that it's there already.
Yeah, he wants his credit on IMDb.
Look, if I'm going to get... Is this on? If I'm going to get pummeled, mercilessly, I'm going to make sure it's up on IMDb.
Yeah, go to Brian's IMDb site and then look at a real actor's site before you look at your one credit for a voiceover on a video game.
RAM.
Believe me, I'm not deluding myself at all.
Well, you know what?
An actor, I'm not.
Don't sell yourself short. There's a couple of... Steve did a sketch we have audio of. Do we have a couple just lines? We have like little lines from Steve. And if you want to see somebody emote, I mean, this kid is good.
Well, give the setup, too, for Brian.
It was a sketch where Steve... Steve, you want to explain the sketch to Mr.
No, not really.
It was one of our interns, Bill, played a weird guy who walks into Steve's house, and it's a bizarre sketch, and Steve just has such emotion, and it turns out that in the sketch, Bill's parents have died, so Steve has to ask Bill, how did your parents die? There's just a lot of emotion in it.
And then there's another part where he says, why not? Now listen to the emotion. The difference, the dynamic between how did your parents die and just an ordinary why not grabbed randomly from his lines. Here's why not.
Why not? How'd your parents die? Why not? How'd your parents die? Why not? How'd your parents die?
Do you detect the emotion in the parents dying part?
Well, maybe is it good as an actor to just kind of like say everything the same and figure that the audience can put in the pauses where they feel it's necessary?
Or the emotion, or the dynamic, or anything.
Steve is like Mad Libs with emotion. Like, he'll throw out the lines and then let the audience fill in however they feel about it.
Well, it's a very difficult thing to I can't really tell from just hearing those two lines.
Oh, yes, you can, because that's it. That's his range.
Well, it seemed to me it sounded real. That's sometimes that's the best you can
views are in.
I mean, the thing about
Brian Cox, it sounded real.
He'll put that on his bio.
He'll put it on his bio as a credit. The quotes around
Can I
it.
hear it again?
Yeah, here he goes.
Why not? How'd your parents die? Why not? How'd your parents die?
Well, there was a genuine intention there. You could hear the intention was that he really wanted to know how their parents died. So, in fact, he succeeded quite well. I don't think that's bad at all. And also, he didn't let emotion get in the way.
Right.
But what I want to know is, what does the why not relate to? I don't get the why not, and doesn't really relate to how. Why
What
did
was
he?
why not again?
Was it that Bill wanted to come in, and he said, "Can I come in?" And you said, "Why not?"
Yeah.
Oh no, it was. I can't go home, and he couldn't.
Oh, he can't go home, and
Why
then
not?
he said, "Why not?" And he goes, "My parents died."
And then Steve, we have a response. When Steve goes, "How'd your parents die?" But when Bill says, "My parents died," Steve has a response to that.
Yes.
Which is just thick with compassion and emotion.
Yes,
It's beautiful.
Some more Steve.
That's terrible. I'm sorry.
He has a little stutter, a stammer thing.
That's terrible. I'm sorry.
Yeah, you're embarrassed, which is fine. I can see that, and that's a kind of genuine emotion. This gentleman's parents have died, and you're embarrassed that they've died. And you're saying, hear it again?
Yes, of course, sir.
That's terrible. I'm sorry.
So you're saying that's terrible. I'm sorry. That's terrible. I'm sorry. That's terrible. I'm sorry.
The complete lack of
That's terrible. I'm sorry. And it's like, I want to get out of the room because it's terrible, and I'm sorry. So I actually think you do it quite well. I'm actually rather impressed.
Wow.
Well,
Thank you, sir.
Brian just took horse manure and made lemonade.
But you know, half the thing with all of this, I mean, I've just done this movie called Running with Scissors.
Yeah.
And the thing is, the material is so extraordinary. You don't have to do anything. You just sit back on it and let it ride you rather than try and ride it, because there's no way you could ever match it. Because
I'm looking forward to the movie. I read the book.
Yeah, it's a good movie.
It's a crazy story. Are you playing the psychiatrist?
I play Finch. Yeah, I play the doctor. Yeah,
The doctor. Yeah.
yeah, and the psychiatrist.
He adopts.
I adopt Augustine Burroughs. Yeah.
Right.
And it's a really good story. I mean, people have been going on about the veracity of it, the truth. Sorry, I don't want to use big words.
That's okay.
Yeah.
Steve's still in the room.
Sorry, Steve. My
I'm
apologies.
sorry, I don't understand that.
That's okay. I'm sorry.
Terrible.